The new museum is part of Berlin's Museum Island. In 1999, the island's unique architectural ensemble of 5 buildings was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Museum Island was created in the 19th century. The French Revolution, followed by the Napoleonic era, shook Europe to its very foundations. In Prussia, too, a new kind of bourgeois consciousness was asserting itself.
Museum Island is actually a real and symbolic location for an intellectual awakening. The first museum opened in 1830. Friedrich Schinkel and Wilhelm von Humboldt were its godfathers. It was a kind of architectural political objective. The architecture expressed exactly what was intended at the time: education as the motor of society.
The history of Museum Island begins in 1841. The old museum has become too small after just 10 years. So King Frederick William IV declares the entire northern half of the Spree Island a sanctuary for art and science. The same year, construction of the new museum begins. Right from the start, the museum lives up to its name. Already on the construction site, the architect Friedrich August Stüler and his civil engineer Karl Wilhelm Hoffmann strike out on new paths. They're faced with a huge challenge. The Spree Island is anything but a solid building site. Therefore, 2,344 wooden piles are driven into the muddy ground, using a steam-driven pile driver delivered by one of Berlin's steel magnates, August Borsig. Other technical innovations used include a mortar mixing machine, an elevator and a construction train, all of which are steam-powered. The building itself has to be as light as possible. Therefore, Stüler resorts to the newest technical innovations in his construction. The building's structural design isn't based on solid walls, but rather on a steel frame construction. Together with Hoffmann and Borsig, he develops new ceiling beams by utilising the different qualities of wrought iron and cast iron. The vaults between the beams are not filled with solid bricks, but with hollow clay vessels. This saves a lot of extra weight. Tests show that the ceiling is still strong enough to carry a weight of more than 6 tons per square metre. And so the new museum is also a monument of construction history. It can be described as a high-tech building from the 19th century. The innovations continue inside the museum. Friedrich Schinkel purposely kept the halls in the old museum simple in order for the artworks from classic antiquity to shine on their own. Stüler, on the other hand, had a different concept in mind. He writes, "Because the arts are never to be appreciated on their own, but rather consistently in connection with their sister arts, the architect considered it his obligation to complement the collections with the design and decoration of the locality in which they're presented." To achieve this, Stüler commissions Berlin's most renowned artists from the late neoclassical period to paint murals for the new museum. This strategy aims at more than the beauty of the exhibited artworks. It intends to educate visitors about the treasures of antiquity.